You open the fridge. You stare at it for a moment. Nothing looks good enough. You close it and order food on your phone instead. This happens to you almost every day. You think it is a modern problem. A problem of too much choice, too much convenience, too much noise around food. But the real answer is far stranger. Your confusion in front of that fridge is not new. It is ancient. It is the echo of a decision your ancestors made hundreds of thousands of years ago. One that rewired your brain, your teeth, your gut, and your entire relationship with eating. To understand what you eat today, you have to go back, not to your grandmother's kitchen, not even to the invention of farming. You have to go back almost 2 million years to a species that was not yet human, standing on the edge of a discovery that would change everything. Their name was Homo erectus, and their bodies tell a story their bones cannot lie about. Look at your own teeth for a second. They are small. Your jaw is small too, compared to almost every other primate on the planet. Your gut is short. Your stomach is weak compared to a gorilla's, which can ferment tough leaves for hours. None of this makes sense for an animal that is supposed to survive in the wild. So how did you survive? The anthropologist Richard Wrangham has spent decades studying this exact question. His answer is simple, and it is strange. He argues that cooking, not hunting, is what made you human. Not fire for warmth. Not fire for protection from predators. Fire for food. Cooked food is easier to digest. It delivers more calories per bite than raw food ever could. A raw yam takes enormous effort to break down. A cooked yam gives your body almost double the usable energy for the same amount of chewing. Do you understand what that means for a species living on the edge of starvation? It means more energy for the brain. And the brain is expensive. It burns through calories faster than almost any other organ in your body. Wrangham's research suggests that once cooking entered the picture, evolution could finally afford to build a bigger brain because the body no longer needed such a massive gut to digest raw plants and tough meat. Your ancestors traded gut size for brain size, and they did it around a fire, but cooking is only half the story. The other half is what they were cooking in the first place. For a long time, popular imagination painted a picture of the caveman as a meat-obsessed hunter, chasing mammoths across the tundra, tearing into raw flesh by firelight. This image is everywhere. It is in movies. It is in diet books. It is in the name of an entire modern eating trend built around the idea of returning to how ancient humans supposedly ate. But the actual evidence tells a messier, more interesting story. The primatologist Catherine Milton studied the diets of both wild primates and traditional human societies for decades. Her research points to something uncomfortable for anyone who wants a simple answer. Early humans were not strict carnivores. They were not strict vegetarians either. They were radical opportunists. Depending on the season, the region, and the climate, ancient humans ate roots, tubers, nuts, seeds, insects, shellfish, eggs, fruit, leafy greens, and yes, meat, whenever they could get it. Meat was valuable, it was calorie-dense and protein-rich. But it was also unreliable. You cannot plan your week around catching an animal that does not want to be caught. Plants, on the other hand, were everywhere, slow, patient, waiting to be dug up, cracked open, or gathered. This is where a second piece of evidence becomes fascinating. Scientists have found a way to read the actual meals of ancient humans, preserved for tens of thousands of years, in something you might not expect: their teeth. The archaeologist Amanda Henry has analyzed dental calculus, the hardened plaque that builds up on ancient teeth, from Neanderthal and early human remains. Trapped inside that calculus are microscopic starch granules, the fossilized leftovers of actual meals eaten thousands of generations ago. What did she find? Starch, from roots, from grains, from tubers, some of which show signs of being cooked before they were eaten. This was not supposed to exist in a diet imagined as pure meat and animal fat. It rewrote a piece of the story. Ancient humans were eating starchy plants, long before farming existed, long before anyone planted a single seed on purpose. So why does the myth of the all-meat caveman survive so strongly today? Part of the answer is bias. Bones and stone tools used for hunting survive well in the archaeological record. A sharpened spear point lasts for 100,000 years. A handful of digested roots does not. For most of the 20th century, archaeologists were essentially reading half a menu and assuming it was the whole meal. Modern methods changed that. Chemical analysis of ancient bones, isotope studies of tooth enamel, and microscopic plant residue on stone tools have all pointed in the same direction. Ancient human diets were flexible, regional, and deeply dependent on what the local environment offered. In coastal regions, that meant shellfish, fish, and seaweed. In grasslands, that meant roots, tubers, and the occasional large kill. In forests, that meant fruit, nuts, insects, and small game. There was no single ancient human diet. There were thousands of them, shifting with geography and season. This flexibility is not a side note. It might be the entire reason your species survived at all. Every other primate on Earth is specialized. Gorillas rely heavily on leaves and stems. Some monkey species can barely digest anything outside a narrow range of fruit. When their environment shifts even slightly, they struggle. Many go extinct locally when their specific food source disappears. Your ancestors did the opposite. They became generalists. They could eat almost anything, cook almost anything, and extract calories from environments that would starve a more specialized animal. When an ice age came, they adapted. When a forest turned into grassland, they adapted again. This is, quite literally, why you are here at all. There is a third researcher worth mentioning here, the nutrition scientist Loren Cordain, who popularized the idea of eating like your ancestors in the modern world. His work sparked an entire movement built around cutting out grains and processed sugar in favor of meat, vegetables, and fruit. But even his own later writing acknowledged what the dental and chemical evidence kept showing. There was no single template. Cordain's own surveys of traditional societies found some groups getting the majority of their calories from meat, and others getting the majority from plants, tubers, or even honey. The common thread was never the specific food. It was the absence of anything processed, refined, or stripped of its natural structure. Consider what this actually required of the brain doing the choosing. Every single day, an ancient human had to run a constant calculation. Is this worth the energy it will take to get it? A root buried deep in dry soil might take an hour of digging for a few hundred calories. A tree full of ripe fruit might offer the same amount in minutes. A herd of animals grazing nearby might offer thousands of calories, but only with real risk attached. And only with real risk attached. And only with no guarantee of success. This is not so different from the calculation running quietly in your head right now, whether you notice it or not. Fast food feels effortless, so it wins against cooking a meal that takes 40 minutes of preparation. A snack within arm's reach wins against walking to the kitchen. Your brain is still running the same ancient math. It is just running it on a completely different set of options. There is even evidence that your taste preferences themselves are leftover survival tools. A craving for sugar was once a reliable signal pointing toward ripe, calorie-dense fruit. A craving for salt once pointed toward minerals your body genuinely lacked. A craving for fat once pointed toward the most calorie-dense food available in an unpredictable world. None of these cravings were flaws. They were finely tuned instructions for a world of scarcity. The problem is that the world changed far faster than your biology could keep up with. Sugar used to mean a piece of fruit in season. Now it can mean a bottle of soda available at any hour, in any season, without any effort required to obtain it. The craving itself has not changed in tens of thousands of years. Only the size of the reward waiting at the end of it has changed, dramatically, and suddenly, on an evolutionary timescale of almost nothing. There is one more twist worth sitting with. The idea of returning to an ancestral diet assumes there was one clean, original way of eating that modern life has corrupted. But if ancient humans were eating everything from shellfish to starchy roots to the occasional windfall of meat, depending entirely on where they happened to live, then the entire premise falls apart. There was no original diet to return to. There was only adaptation. What connected every single one of those ancient eating patterns was not a specific food. It was flexibility. It was the ability to look at whatever the environment offered and figure out how to make it work. Now think about your fridge again. Standing there, overwhelmed by choice, frustrated that nothing looks appealing, you are not experiencing a modern malfunction. You are experiencing the same brain that once had to decide every single day what was worth the effort of gathering, hunting, or digging up. Except now, instead of scanning a forest, you are scanning shelves. Instead of weighing calories against effort, you are weighing convenience against boredom. The circuitry is the same, only the environment changed. Your ancestors did not survive because they found the perfect food. They survived because they never stopped adjusting to whatever food was actually there. Their teeth carried the proof. Their bones carried the proof. And somewhere in your own restless standing in front of an open fridge, so do you. You open the fridge again. This time you notice something different. You are not failing at eating simply. You are doing exactly what your species has always done, standing in front of abundance and still trying to figure out what fits.